All right, welcome back. Okafor, you looking sporty.
Thank you.
Yeah. I already told Ella it's a Good Friday. Happy Good Friday.
Same to you.
Yeah. All right. There's a public outcry that Natasha's security should be restored. Going by what happened the day before yesterday in his hometown, where armed men broke into his family house and destroyed some part of it. Thank God to the quick response of security operative. That call is hot now. What do you think the police should do?
Is it what the police should do? Fundamentally, police should always do what they should do, which is protect lives and property of every citizen. But we do know that public office holders sometimes face these heightened security threats, and oftentimes it's important to have these safeguards around them because a lot of people want to approach them, both invited and uninvited and all those stuff. So that is why you have some increased security architecture around the public office holder. You know, when you talk about withdrawal of our security details, I was hearing it as a rumor before. I didn't know it's a procedure. If it is a lawful procedure, it's actually wrong, and it should be changed. Okay, because let's just leave issues of a suspension, whether it was legitimately done or not, because I've never actually believed that if a colleague should suspend me from representing my people, it didn't hold water, and it makes no sense. You know, but if it is a law they have on paper, they need to change that law. Human, we operate our law, and we have power to change it when it's not serving us. Now, coming to withdrawal of our security, still the same thing. If you suspend a senator, let's say it's rightly or legitimately done, she didn't stop being a senator. She's still a senator. So why do you have to withdraw security details? I was hearing it as a rumor. I thought maybe it didn't happen. Why? If anything wrong had, God forbid, had happened, what are you going to say? There are certain things that we shouldn't allow, and I don't know if they are in our laws, in our operational procedures. I don't know whose reasoning allowed it to go through. That a senator who is serving 7 days suspension, or 1 month, or how many days is legitimate in 14 days, who is probably serving 14 days suspension for any reason, stops being a senator. She could always be a suspended senator. She's still a senator. She's still a senator. Let's assume the suspension is right. She's still a senator. Within those periods, she's still living her life, and security around her is still important. So I don't know why. I think IG, if there is anything preventing him from doing what he should do, which is protect lives and properties. And in protecting life and property, you assess the level or height of the risk around any element you want to protect. That around a senator is certainly higher than that around me. I think IG knows that anything that is preventing him from achieving result, he has to quash it. If there's a law preventing him, he has to go against it so that he can achieve his result.
Eli, your take.
Well, I don't know how long we'll be living in a country like we're living in the jungle. Even when I mentioned it in one of our programs, even when Chief Justice of the Federation then, late Bola Ige, had his security details, just that little time they stepped out with the excuse that they went to eat or something, this man was murdered in cold blood. You get a serving Attorney General. And now today, we have a Senate president that told Nigerians that even though the economy was very, very down, the purchase of the aircraft, presidential aircraft, even though there were others before now, is something that is very important because of the position of the president and for his comfort and for him to be able to take out his duty. The same Senate president will instruct the Nigerian police, because it's an instruction from the office of the Senate president to withdraw security details of a senator, a serving senator, knowing how hostile. This woman moved from Abuja to Kogi. You know how the road is. And so you just give instruction that her security details should be withdrawn just for no reason that she's been suspended. Like he has rightly said, she still remains a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria representing her people. Even in suspension, she still sent people home to go and check the site that she got for her constituency project. That means she's still working even in suspension. So why do you have to make withdrawals? I expected the police, having been given this report of what happened just within these 24 hours, not to have waited for any instruction or anything, to have restored her security details and even increase it for her, like he has rightly said, because the primary duty of the police is the protection of lives and property. Her property has been tampered with. If she were there at that time, if she was there, maybe the life would have been touched too. And this is what this woman is crying, that certain people in high places are after her life. How will you now say she's wrong when she's exposed to danger that can be prevented by the Nigerian police and even the Senate?
All right. Okafor, I want to bring in something kind of technical. Now, we have a constitution that guides us and make everybody knows their position, rights and obligation. And most of the time, when this constitution is being tampered with, especially in respect to dishing out instruction, either from the executive or the legislature, when people cry out for it, they don't have a recourse to look at, oh, maybe I did it in error. The case of Natasha, the case of Fubara, they don't listen.
No, essentially, that is why we have three arms of government.
Yes.
Just that judiciary, to a large extent, has failed this nation. Okay, it has failed this nation. Who supervised the judiciary? The only supervision you have on judiciary essentially is the appointment.
Yes.
And I think it's because of having that checks and balances rotated around. That is why you see the appointment being done by executive. That is probably the only checks they have on the judiciary.
Yeah.
Okay, judiciary checks the legislature checks the executive. Okay, and all these apparatus check the citizens.
Yes.
So ordinarily, if any of the chain is weak, it contaminates others.
Yes.
You know, the judiciary, in line with some fraction of the executive, which are our law enforcement, which in this case police, are not doing what they should do. They are not doing what they should do. So, and when you have this misinterpretation, or clearly maybe that is where they understood it, sometimes you give people the benefit of that. Like in Rivers, you mentioned it. The president can say, oh, I believe that there's imminent danger. The laws are there's going to be breakdown of law and order. When they run to judiciary should say, no, there is no reason for you to be there. This, that. But at the end of the day, the other day you were giving reference that constitutionally now we have lost 25% requirement of your electoral scores to be a president in Nigeria when with respect to Abuja. Now, even though you score 0 in Abuja, you can still be president. You know, these are some of the safeguards we think our judiciary should have been there for us. But
okay, let me go point you on that judiciary, like a follow-up question. Now, when the citizenry go to the judiciary to explain this particular situation, the action is not expedited. It's dragged.
I think there's a saying that justice delayed in some form is justice denied. Because time, I know I used to say that any task, any element of task or activities has major 3 benchmarks, or you call it 3 cardinal points of any task. It's called scope, the cost of it, and the time to get it done. If I say I'm giving you a project to do for Olympic, if you deliver it after the Olympic, it's useless. It has not served its purpose.
Those are pure engineering.
Whatever it is. I'm trying to make it discreet so that you can understand it. So the idea is for you to see everything in life is like that. If you give somebody an assignment, you didn't give him time to deliver, it's wrong. I've always told you that even our executive, let's move it like judicial. You give people, road safety can stop you on the way. Where is your driver's license? Do you understand? And you tell them, oh, I don't have driver's license. You bring a paper to them. If you're in Abuja, they will honor it. If you are in certain remote location, those road safety officers want to obtain, they'll tell you it's fake. They'll tell you it's fake.
With no evidence of verification.
You don't have anywhere to verify it. Meanwhile, you have submitted your request for road safety, for your license for over 3 months. Government did not give them timeline within which to deliver. When you give your assignment, there should be a stipulated time, like Electoral Act gives timeline to finish all electoral cases emanating from election. That is justice in some form.
Eli, in winding down, Natasha on the spotlight, But you know, I've always said one thing: is what happens to one that affects every other person, and we must take precedent from that. Her security. That's what we're talking about.
It's very important. It's very paramount, like I just mentioned. Not just her security because she's even a senator alone. She had openly told us how she's afraid of people. Before this attack on her house, she told us that they were interested in her being killed. You know, there was a plot to her being killed, all right? And now the evidence is coming out. A woman that is shouting that certain persons are after her life, we want to romance it as if she's just talking political language. Now there's a proof. Her house has been attacked. Who knows the next one, how far they could go or they will go and what will happen, God forbid. So when do we need to wait until it happens again before her security will be restored back to her? If after suspension, I don't even know, they suspend her salary, suspend all her whatever, they will give it to her, will they not? What if something bad happens to her after that? Will they restore and pay her back for her life? The Nigerian police should do the needful. Even the National Assembly, her colleagues in the Senate should know. They should protect one of them.
All right.
Her security should be given back to her.
Okay, we will leave it at that, but we are calling that her security should be restored back. But guys, I just wanted to throw in a jab. It's like Yahya Bello is back in the mainstream of politics with APC.
Where did you want him to be?
Wow. Okay, I will stop you there. Because I'm not the one that has signed people. All right, we'll be right back.